Good afternoon. Sorry that I'm running late. I try to be punctual with these matters, but I've been tending to urgent matters, which I'll address in a moment. As we all know, that we woke up this morning on the dirty side of a dirty hurricane. Beryl has done significant damage. I told you yesterday when you went to bed, you'd wake up to a different set of circumstances this morning. Very accurate statement. We have experienced over 90 miles per hour wind, upwards of 10 to 15 inches of rain. And I want to emphasize, don't let the clear skies fool you. We still have dangerous circumstances. We still have high water across our city. We have still flooding issues. We have freeways 45 that is flooded, underpasses, Allen Parkway and Wall, Shepherd Memorial, Houston Avenue and 45. It is still dangerous. We have traffic lights out across the city. You cannot go through traffic lights without being concerned about your safety and equally your neighbors. I've gone through some intersections this morning and people are not slowing down where traffic lights are not operating. We're going to do the very best we can with Public Works, the assistance of TxDOT, to get these lights back operating, but do not become complacent. That's my message this afternoon. I've got so many first responders, department heads, colleagues from City Council, from the federal government, Senate, Congress. We're all working together. I've been in contact with the county judge this morning, with the acting governor, Patrick, the state emergency center, NIM Kidd. We're doing everything we can. We were in a shelter-in-place mode this morning, rescue mode this morning, continued into the afternoon with rescue. Now we're going to move into assessment, but we need the public's assistance. Let us help you. Let us do a proper assessment across the city. Let us look and seek out the most vulnerable, independent living, senior citizens, nursing homes. Look out for your family, your neighbors, and the most vulnerable. Beryl was a dangerous storm. It still poses a threat, and we're doing everything we can. Now let me pause for a moment. We've suffered and experienced 3 deaths. Every life is precious. We lost a person this morning to a tree falling. Took his life in the Spring Humble area. Lost someone to fire in southeast Houston due to lightning. We believe it's storm related. And I just left a tragic situation where one of our heroes, a civilian employee of HPD, Tier 1, coming to work this morning. We were asking Tier 1 to make it to work. He came off 45, got into flood conditions there at the Houston Avenue underpass, knew he was in trouble, called HPD friends for help. And I've been there all afternoon watching his colleagues retrieve his body from his submerged car. Horrible situation. Chief Satterwhite is on his way to notify the family. And I ask everyone to keep these 3 families in our prayers. And I'll actually just pause for a moment. Life is fragile. Most Houstonians listened to us last night, stayed at home. The first 2 deaths were purely unfortunate circumstances, and then the third was a public servant going to work. So just pause for a moment. The deaths put things in perspective. Why we come to work. Why these public servants that I'm surrounded by train, go to work, let their rank and file staff do what they do. We are committed to Houstonians and our regional friends. We understand what families are going through, certainly with the loss of power. Most of us, certainly I do not have power at my house. I know what it's like. CenterPoint is doing everything they can. They've brought in 10,000 additional personnel from around the state and in the nation to assist us. We have 910,000 Houstonians without power. Over 2 million, 2.2 million in our region. We're fully aware, CenterPoint is fully aware of how critical and what an essential service that is. We will be monitoring that. They've got staging locations, 11 of them across Houston. We're going to take care of every community. No community is favored over another community. Every Houstonian is important to us. We will get your power on as quickly as possible. We have other essential services like health care. LBJ Hospital is experiencing water shortages and wastewater condition and services. That's being monitored very carefully. Generators. Generators, when we do an assessment in future days, have to be more mindful of the condition and service condition of generators. Some are working better than others, some are not working. But we're aware of the facilities that need our immediate attention. Let me pause for a moment and let you know we're focusing on debris pickup. Solid waste will begin regular service on Wednesday. Tomorrow will be heavy garbage pickups. Metro was not able to go back in service today. They'll do limited services tomorrow. Metro Lift is operational as we talk. Every department, every facet of city government is in all hands on deck. Nothing will be unattended to if physically and humanly possible. We'll continue to give you transparent updates. We're here in the emergency center, which is the nerve center. We've been working here the last 3 days to prepare. Thank you, staff, for working around the clock, sleeping in this center all night last night. So I just want to assure the public, all hands on deck, do your part to assist us. Look out for your family, your neighbors, your pets. The most vulnerable, if you're responsible for senior citizens, it's your duty, your responsibility to look out for the most vulnerable. Now, we're going to get through this with the collaboration of every level of government. I've never seen more cooperation. It's been since the first day of my administration. We're working with county commissioners, county government. The state is reaching out to us. Surrounding areas, County Judge Keogh, Montgomery County, Mayor Zimmerman in Sugar Land. People want to help Houston. There's love for our great city and our great people. We have challenges, but most major cities do, and we're addressing our challenges. Let me yield at this time to our emergency center director, who can put us a scope of where the action is and what we need from an emergency center perspective at this time. Tom, why don't you come up here and give us a snapshot of where the center is.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, colleagues. As the mayor has mentioned, for the last 3 days, we've been monitoring the situation. We're at level 1 now, which is all hands on deck for us. We've been working with local, state, and federal agencies to ensure that we have the assets and resources that are needed to keep people safe. What we're also doing is coordinating the mass care. We're still doing life safety, but we're going to start coordinating mass care to start helping those individuals with vulnerable populations that are going to need extra help. Along with that, we're sending out our safety messages. But that is all in coordination with our officials, HPD, HFD, Public Works, Solid Waste, Parks, Every agency within the city is working throughout the night and working diligently to ensure that everything is taken care of for you, that your safety is foremost. The other thing that I want to emphasize, that along with our federal agencies and state agencies and local agencies, we're also working with SetTrack to ensure that those vulnerable areas, such as the assisted living homes, nursing homes, we're working with CenterPoint to identify those areas that are going to need electricity to ensure that those people are safe and have the resources needed to maintain their safety. We're also working with our NGOs, our non-governmental offices and organizations to start working together with our interfaith, and everybody's working to ensure that we have every single resource to ensure the safety of everyone. Again, as the mayor has mentioned, this is still a serious situation. We encourage everyone to stay at home. Don't be out in the roads if you don't have to. We're still in a serious situation and condition. However, we're working hard throughout the night, and until this is over, we will continue to work to ensure your safety. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tom. Chief Wells with Houston Fire, would you give us a status report, please?
Thank you, Mayor. The Houston Fire Department, we've been able to answer an amazing amount of calls, and that's no shortness to the Houston firefighters themselves. It's often been said that come hell or high water, Houston firefighters are able to serve, and they're doing an amazing job, so I want to thank them for what they do. All units are currently staffed. While we have had some challenges with some of the units and stations as far as fleet and facility, we're working through those challenges. As the mayor said earlier, the real key message for the fire department is safety. There is a false sense of security as the rain goes away, that the danger is gone, and that's just not the case. The ground is still soft, trees could still fall, there's still high water out there. It's not a playground. Please don't let your children go play in the puddles. As Public Works cleans up the drains and as the water starts to go away, danger could take one of your children. So please watch over your family, watch over your children. Again, don't let them play in the floodwaters. If you don't need to be on the street, please don't. Because as it gets dark, there's not going to be any traffic lights. And we don't want any accidents to take any more lives that have already been lost as it stands now. One of the last things I'll say to the fire department, as far as their generators, while everybody's using them, please be mindful for carbon monoxide. I know as it gets dark, people want to pull the generators closer to the house and then go to sleep. That's a recipe for disaster. So please keep your generators away from your house. As the breeze or the wind dies down, you might have to relocate your generator because, again, carbon monoxide, it can be a real danger, especially at night and when you're asleep, when you don't know about it. So again, please check on your neighbors. Please keep a watch over your house and your loved ones, and the fire department is ready and able to serve. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Martin, as I've mentioned, Chief Satterfield is talking with the victim's family and has sent Chief Martin to give us a status report of Houston PD.
Thank you, Mayor. As fire department said too, the Houston Police Department is fully staffed and operational right now. We've had some facilities challenges, power like everyone else, but we are out there trying to keep the public safe. But as always, on any other given day, we need the public's help to do that. You heard the number. You heard the 2.2 million people without power. That doesn't just mean homes. That means businesses, stoplights, traffic signals, street lights. Everything out there when it starts to get dark today will look different. So we need the public's help. As you heard the fire department say, don't let the clear skies fool you. There are still dangers out there. So if at all possible, if you don't have to be out tonight, stay home, take care of your family, look out for your neighbors, stay off the roads. If you've lived in Houston your entire life and you get out on the roads tonight with no light and no traffic signals, it will look completely different. It can be disorienting. The perspective is different. So if at all possible, stay home with your family, take care of your family, take care of your friends, take care of your neighbors, and let's get the city moving towards recovery.
Thank you, Chief Martin. This morning, we were receiving 400 911 calls per hour through the noon hour. Let me emphasize, if it's an emergency, it's 911. If it's non-emergency, please call 311. And before any further, Tom, you want to cover what we've done so far in Spanish, then I'm going to recognize our federal partners, and then I would like Centerpoint to give us a very accurate status report of their service. But if you would, at this stage, talk to our Spanish-speaking residents.
Gracias. Como dice el alcalde, que es muy importante que por ahorita, por favor, que entiendan que la situación es muy seria. Nomás porque salió el sol y ya no está lloviendo, todavía hay peligro. El aviso es que, por favor, si no quiere estar en la calle, que no estén en la calle, queden en casa, que le pongan atención a los mensajes que estamos dando. Otra cosa, es muy importante que sepan todos, que todos los oficiales que están atrás de nosotros, atrás de mí, están trabajando entre la noche para la seguridad de ustedes. También el alcalde quiere que, por favor, que todos se pongan de acuerdo. Fallecieron 3 personas en esta tormenta. Que por favor piensen en ellos, recen para ellos también. Es una cosa muy importante para la comunidad. También el alcalde quiere que todos sepan que los oficiales federales y del Estado están trabajando con nosotros para que agarremos todos los recursos que necesitamos para ayudar a la gente. Y es muy importante también que los mensajes que estamos dando, que le pongan atención. Porque ahorita, como he dicho y lo hice de vuelta, la situación es muy seria. Que pongan atención y, por favor, que respeten los mensajes que estamos dando. Gracias.
Thank you, Tom. And as we go forward, I'll call you back up. At this time, Centerpoint, would you come give us a status report and certainly what it looks like going forward on a daily basis?
Thank you, Mayor. At Centerpoint Energy, what we've seen is our entire region has been impacted. So it's not a single particular instance like we saw with the derecho. It's our greater Houston metro area. With that being said, for us to be able to respond, we did bring in 10,000 additional foreign crews or linemen to help restore our effort. We ask that you please be patient with us as we have our folks that are currently out trying to restore the power as we speak. We do it in ways where we get our circuits back on, which are the highways and our laterals and fuses and transformers, but it's going to take time. For us to get a complete assessment and understand exactly what we're looking at, for us, we have to determine, are we going to repair our facilities or are we going to have to rebuild them? And for us to be able to determine that, we have to go out and fully walk each of the 1,300 circuits that we currently have without power. So we ask for you to please be patient with us as we complete that. And then once we have that information, we'll have a better idea of exactly what we're looking at and how long it's going to take for our restoration efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom, why don't we go before we go any further, would you repeat this critical information to our Spanish-speaking residents? And we can get the numbers in detail later.
Sí, lo que quieren que sepa toda la comunidad es que Centerpoint está trabajando duro para que toda la electricidad que se va a necesitar. Ahorita tienen 10,000 trabajadores que van a trabajar entre el día y la noche para que todo las líneas de electricidad estén compuestas y también para mover la basura que se necesita para hacer el trabajo. Gracias.
Thank you. One of the critical things we've already started to process is the disaster declaration. So at this time, I'm going to call upon our federal partners that are assisting us to expedite the disaster declaration. Senator Cruz.
Thank you. I want to start by commending the mayor for the terrific job you're doing and the terrific job your entire team is doing, from Houston Police to Houston Fire to solid waste to everyone dealing with emergency management. I've spent the afternoon in the Emergency Management Center with this team, and this is a professional team that is focused, number one, on saving lives, on responding to Houstonians who are in harm's way. We just came through a very serious storm. Sadly, it took the lives of 3 Houstonians. For those 3, we grieve for them. We pray for their families. We grieve especially for the family of the HPD civilian employee who lost his life today, stepping forward to serve his community. It was the last act that he could do. We're grateful for the professionalism of this team, but I want to encourage everyone at home, listen to the warnings that you have heard from the mayor, from the police department, from the fire department. Listen to the warnings and stay home. It may seem sunny, it may seem safe now. The rain and wind has stopped, but it is still very dangerous out there. There are still thousands of traffic lights that are out. There is still deep water that you may think you could drive your car into, and then in a flash of an eye, it's too deep and you lose control, and that could be the end for you and your family. And there's still the risk of live wires, which could electrocute you or your loved ones. And so the advice from first responders, from emergency management officials, is stay home. Spend tonight at home with your kids. Have a family night at home with the kids, and give time for the systems to be repaired, the street lights to be repaired. Centerpoint has brought in over 10,000 linemen from all across Texas, from neighboring states, from Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, coming here working to reconnect power and reconnect it as quickly as possible. And as the mayor said, the steps for a federal emergency declaration, the governor submits a request for a declaration to the President of the United States. At that point, I and John Cornyn, along with Al Green and the rest of our federal colleagues, we will support that federal declaration, and I'm confident that the President will issue a federal emergency declaration promptly as soon as the request is submitted from the governor. We will then work hand in hand, as we have repeatedly for years, with city officials, county officials, state officials, to ensure that federal resources are made available. Federal resources are made available to help with the rebuild. The rebuild is going to be significant. There was real damage. But the good news is, for Houston, this ain't our first rodeo. If you live on the Gulf Coast, part of living on the Gulf Coast is hurricanes. I've lived in Houston my whole life, and this team is very good at it, unfortunately, because we know there's going to be another hurricane, and we will come through it. We will rebuild because we are Houston strong.
Thank you, Senator. Another federal partner, longtime friend, Congressman Al Green from Houston.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And my thanks to all of the persons assembled who have given me a good indication that they are working hard, but also that they care. They're concerned. Mayor, I appreciate your giving your comments about the lives that were lost. And Senator, I thank you for what you've said as well. Because for many of us, this has been an inconvenience. It is going to cause us to possibly miss time at work. We may very well have had plans that will be altered. But for these persons, it will linger long after the hurricane has gone. And I want them to know that our thoughts and our prayers are with them, and we're going to do all that we can to help others, perhaps save some lives in the future. Mayor, I want to thank you for what you've said about the water, the high water. Over at 610 and 288, we had an inundation, and we had vehicles underwater at that location. I want to do what I can to help us acquire the funds. I want to work with the senator to acquire the funds needed to secure those areas such that when the water comes up, perhaps there will be a gate to come down or an arm to come down to keep people out of these areas. And finally, I've been out and about and I've seen the damage. I've seen the debris. I've seen the traffic signals. And here's what I would say about those traffic signals. They're not flashing. It's not just that they're out, but they're not flashing. You will not see a signal flashing. I almost encountered an accident as I traversed the city to get here. Because when the signal is out, you don't have something to alert you as you would hope to have, and you might go right through it. So the better thing to do is to, especially when it's later on and it's dark, just stay at home if you can. I would beg that you stay at home, stay with your family, stay safe, and by all means, when you approach these intersections, assume that there may be a signal out and take your time going through. Again, I want to thank the Senator, and I do look forward to working with him so that we can bring the federal aid that is necessary to our city. I've already talked to Congresswoman Garcia's office. I know that she's with us. We've gotten a message to the President, but we need to do more, and we will. Thank you again, Mayor. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Congressman. We've heard from our first responders. As you've heard me say in the past, and I'll repeat it today, all of our city departments are first responders, and none are more critical than Public Works to talk about the status of our infrastructure today and where we're going forward. Randy, would you come and give us a status report as it regards to Public Works, our traffic lights, our water supply, wastewater, and all the infrastructure that the public's depending on?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. You know, as we had the first opportunity this afternoon to go out and actually survey the damage across the city, we recognize that one of the major things we see right away is that our streets are a mess. We've heard from everybody so far to talk about situations involving intersections. Congressman Green just talked about the traffic signals when they're dark, for instance. That means there's no power there. It's not that they're flashing, it's that there's nothing there at all. But it's more than that. We found that there's significant damage to many of these intersections as well. Mast arms may have been turned. Some of the actual signal heads themselves are on the ground or they're missing altogether. It's going to take us a number of days and probably weeks to be able to fully assess and repair all of this damage. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time we've done it in just the last few weeks. This is very similar to the experience that we had during the derecho event. And we called on our friends at TxDOT, who were very gracious to be able to come and help us out. We've called on them again, and they will be able to assist us in our efforts moving forward. But it's going to take some time to be able to fully understand the scope of what we have. You know, we have more than 2,500 signalized intersections across the city, which is a significant number of intersections. It's one of the largest networks in the entire country. And our ability to be able to go out and put eyes on every single one of those is a drain on resource in terms of personnel and equipment, the supply chain, and everything that you can possibly consider. So it's going to take some time. That's why it's so important for everyone to remember to stay home, especially in the evening hours. One of the things that we definitely noticed this afternoon is that there are a significant number of down power lines, and some of those lines can be difficult to see. They may be hiding behind debris or trees, or they may just be very small wires that are difficult to see even in daylight hours. So please stay off the roads. We are seeing that the floodwaters are starting to recede in many areas. At this point, roads that are not directly next to a body of water should have had those waters recede. If you are not seeing waters recede in your neighborhood or on major thoroughfares or other intersections where there's not a body of water connected, please call 311 and let us know about that. We have our crews already out across the city trying to clear any blockages that may be impacted in storm drains or whatever it may occur across that area, but our folks are out there assessing it now. We've already begun the process of partnering with fire and other agencies to help clear trees and other debris that's going to be across the city. That's again going to be a collaborative effort that's going to take many, many days. We'll assist solid waste as they complete the debris removal moving forward. And finally, I want to address the water supply system itself. Our drinking water system, of course, is still safe and secure. Pressures are where they need to be from a regulatory standpoint. Our wastewater system, of course, faces many challenges when we have significant rain events. It's one of the things that we've talked about why the city is subject to an EPA consent decree is to fix our wastewater system in general and stop sanitary sewer overflows. When we have big rain events like this, it puts a major strain on that system. Our crews are, of course, already going out across the city to make sure that we can assess and repair and clear any blockages that might exist. If you are experiencing problems, though, of course, call 311, go online and file a ticket. We'll respond as quickly as we possibly can.
Thank you, Randy. Tom, you want to translate for us?
Yes. Lo que está diciendo el director, que es muy importante, que también quiere que la gente sepa que los señales de tráfico ahorita tienen 25,000 entre la ciudad que no están trabajando. Y es muy importante que la gente le ponga atención donde está manejando, que lo que está haciendo, porque ahorita todo va a estar oscuro. Como ya dijeron, tienen 2 millones de personas sin electricidad. Otra cosa, está diciendo que el agua, ahorita sí va a haber mucha agua, pero también que el agua para tomar está sobreada por ellos. Pero también que están poniendo atención a la presión del agua, que es una cosa que es muy importante. Están trabajando duro y también están trabajando para mover la basura que puede estar en el área, que puede prevenir el agua y también puede ser una hundición entre la área. Si por algo en su comunidad, en su calle, necesita ayuda, que por favor llamen a 311 y reporten la basura que necesita que se levante, porque están trabajando también para eso. Pero la cosa más importante, que el agua está asegurada para tomar, que también los señales de tráfico, que sepa la gente que ahorita no están trabajando. Están trabajando duro con TextDat para agarrar toda la información, para agarrar la ayuda que se va a necesitar. Hace 3 semanas, 4 semanas, tuvimos la misma cosa, pero están trabajando duro para que los señales de tráfico los tengan compuestos para la seguridad de la gente. Gracias.
Thank you, Tom. Before I answer, open it to questions, Councilman Kamen reminded me that encourage people to stay hydrated. We'll be opening up multi-service centers as cooling centers as we go forward and we attempt to restore power as quickly as possible. With that said, Houstonians need to know we're working around the clock, so you'll be safe. We are asking your cooperation. Allow us to help you by helping us. Limit your travels. Be mindful of the dangers of high water, traffic, signals. Debris is still scattered across the city. We'll be doing everything we can to pick up the debris as quickly as possible. And before I free everyone up, you can see why I'm so proud of this team and the rank and file of city employees. They're working around the clock. They train and drill for these occasions, these disasters. They do that hour upon hour. And the only way, unfortunately, they get to display their professionalism and how good they are is we have to experience a storm. But we were prepared. We're motivated. They're devoted city employees. And we will not rest till everyone is placed back in a condition or better condition than they were before the storm. With that, I'll answer any questions. I'm sorry, what? The health department is doing an assessment right now of power at our multi-service centers. And unfortunately, I learned after I got to City Hall, our multi-service centers do not have generators. Something we'll correct as we go forward. You can bring in mobile generators, but the size and scope of these multi-service centers need more than a battery-operated generator. So we have a lot of work to do. We have challenges, but with a team standing behind me and the different levels of government, the collaboration, there's nothing that's impossible. So we're asking the public to be safe and assist us in going forward. Yes, sir.
When do you expect that assessment to be completed?
Well, we have people in the field as we talk. You know, this morning it was not safe for our staff or first responders to be doing an assessment. We were literally sheltering in place and encouraging our first responders to be safe as well. Since noon, the weather has cleared. We're getting people out in the field. We're doing an assessment, and it'll take hours, if not days, to get a full assessment.
Do you think we should expect the information on those cooling centers to be sent out tomorrow?
We'll get it to you as quick as we have it. You know, I take pride in our transparency. You can't fix something until you admit that it's a challenge and it's there. You know, we live in Houston. I got up and traveled very risky to the emergency center this morning, right in the middle of the storm, as others have. And this morning we were asking people to shelter in place. We were in a life safety mode, Now, literally, this morning we were in a rescue. We were in a rescue before I got here this afternoon. Now we're beginning the assessment, the recovery mode, and we've done this before. We have the expertise. We'll be calling upon other levels of government. Our county commissioners have just reached out to bring us equipment and personnel. The state will be bringing TxDOT on transportation. DPS will be furnishing some additional security for some retail and residential areas that might not have power, that need additional coverage from public safety. So I could go on and spend the rest of the day, the collaboration, these federal partners that stand behind me, the White House. It just goes on and on. We are here to let the public know we're doing our job. We do ask them to assist us in being safe, look out for the vulnerable, their pets, their property, and let us do our work. Yes, sir.
And Mayor, there's still lots of roads with standing water on them. I know
sure.
We're worried about the flood risk. What are you guys expecting in the coming days as far as when these fires are?
Well, the whole time I was at Houston Avenue in 45, the water did not recede. We're still receiving waters from the outlying communities. There's been very little drop in levels. We're monitoring our rivers, San Jacinto River. We're monitoring very careful. It's all hands on deck. There's no way I can give you a time frame except to let you know we're doing everything we can. We're bringing in 10,000 line personnel from outside. We're bringing in additional personnel from the county, the state, the feds. I can honestly stand before you and tell you we're doing everything humanly possible. Our social agencies, the Red Cross, Salvation Army, the Food Bank. I can go on and on. This is Houston, Texas. This is what we have done repeatedly, bring people together. Let me emphasize this. Every community is of our concern. The equality of this recovery is not matched anywhere in the country. Not one community is not our priority. And far as that goes, individuals. We want to hear from people on 311, 911. If individuals are alone, if seniors are alone, reach out by communication. We will get the energy on. CenterPoint wants the energy restored as quickly as possible. We want debris picked up as quickly as possible. We want our multi-service centers to be cooling centers as quickly as possible. And fire and police will continue to impress us. I watched 288 in Holly Hall this morning. A gentleman caught himself surrounded. We quit our work in the emergency center to watch this rescue. Houston Fire did amazing work at the risk of firefighters and reached out in that flood waters of looked like a river. It was 288, and they were able to rescue him. But for Houston Fire, that individual would not have survived, in my judgment. So I'm surrounded by committed professional folks. There are thousands of our coworkers, rank and file, out doing their job. Please keep in mind the loss of the 3 individuals. It shows you how fragile life is and why we all come to work every day to protect lives and provide safety. Anything else? Yeah.
A lot of times when these weather events happen, you never know how much damage there's going to be. Are you surprised that there was just, in every part of the city, it seemed like that kind of thing?
You know, Beryl was a dangerous hurricane, very unpredictable from day one. You know, 2 o'clock this morning, I was on the streets with the police chief. We hadn't had a drop of water, well, sprinkling, but we kept thinking. Last night, we thought 10 o'clock, shelter in place. We're going to get hit at midnight. 2 o'clock, I thought we'd scared the damn storm off. We were so well prepared. I thought Beryl had decided to go around us because they were outmatched. And you know what? The storm came on in, and we met them. We met them at our city limits, at the county line. I'm impressed with the work and commitment to public safety that we're surrounded by this afternoon. It's a challenge, and it's an opportunity for us to come together, be united. We put our differences aside in times like this and go to work. With that said, we're going to go to work right now. Thank y'all.
Well said, Mayor. Well said.